All right, thank you, my colleagues, for your patience, and to the people of Guam. We will now continue on with Senator Muñoz. Am I correct? Are we still? We're coming back. Senator Muñoz, you have the floor. If you can please say whatever you need to say, and we can move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to, as advice from you, to go ahead and withdraw my previous amendment so I could proffer another amendment to address the issues.
All right, thank you. Do we have any objection to the withdrawal of the amendment? None? Let's just have a quick vote, Joe, and so we just wrap this up real quick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the withdrawal of the amendment proffered by Senator Muñoz, Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rigel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rigel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Senator Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Muñoz Barnes.
Aye.
Speaker Muñoz Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Twista Lahi.
Again.
Senator Twista Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Lahi.
Again.
Senator Pt.2 Lahi, aye. Senator Marsh-Titano.
Again.
Senator Marsh-Titano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moreland.
Senator Moreland, where did you go? Or did we lose him?
He is still linked, but not live with us at this time, sir. If I may, I'll just move on.
Yes, please, and then we'll catch up with him.
Thank you. Senator Muñoz.
Again.
Senator Muñoz, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Senator Torres.
Sorry, I said aye.
Thank you. Sorry. Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitugui.
Again.
Senator Taitugui, aye. Senator Moreland.
Wondering if he's having problems connecting.
No, sir. I just called him. He's running back to his desk right now.
Okay, we'll give him another minute. I see Office of Senator. I'm assuming that's him. There you go.
Aye.
Thank you.
Senator Moreland, aye. Mr. Chair, the motion to withdraw received 59 votes.
Thank you. That passed the withdrawal. Senator Muñoz, please, I know you're going to reintroduce your amendment one more time with the update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. By your request to make it a clean amendment, so I just withdrew, but basically I just added in one sentence in the B provision. But if I don't know, do you want me to just read the whole amendment all over again? I would have to, right?
Yes, please.
Through the last one. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Add new section 23 to chapter 13, administrative provisions, page 149, line 16. Section 23, funds available to the Guam Cancer Trust Fund. A, all funds available to the Guam Cancer Trust Fund in fiscal year 2020 and prior fiscal years shall not lapse and are available to the Guam Cancer Trust Fund in fiscal year 2021. B, notwithstanding the provisions of 11 GCA Chapter 26, subsection 26603 E2B, all funds available to the Guam Cancer Trust Fund in fiscal year 2021 are not subject to the 75% allocation limitation imposed by said section, and may be expended for the purposes provided therein. And underlined here, all other provisions in 11 GCA Chapter 26, subsection 26603 E2B, including the 10% limitation on education and outreach, are not waived and continue to apply. C, all funds of the Guam Cancer Trust Fund, including funds appropriated by this act, inclusive of those appropriated by Chapter 11, Section 12, are not subject to any transfer authority provided for in this act or any other provision of public law. D, the provisions of 11 GCA Chapter 26, Article 3, subsection 26603E6 are not waived.
All right, thank you. Does anyone need to discuss this? I think we discussed this earlier, pretty much all of it. She just made sure she updated her amendment. I don't see any hands. Can you please quickly close and we can vote on this, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to thank my colleagues for allowing us to utilize whatever funds we will have and protect it from one day to the next. Thank you so much.
All right, Joe, let's do the roll call. Let's vote. Joe? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the amendment by Senator Munya, Chairman Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman Agustin, aye. Excuse me. Vice Chair Rajal.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajal, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Ungan.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes.
Ungan.
Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Ungan.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Lahi.
Ungan.
Senator Teresa Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Lahi.
Ungan, por favor.
Senator Pt.2 Lahi, aye. Senator Marsh Titanu.
Ungan.
Senator Marsh Titanu, aye. Senator Castro.
Ungan.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Ungan.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Ungan.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitui.
Ungan.
Senator Taitui, aye. Mr. Chair, the amendment received 15 aye votes.
Thank you, my colleagues, and thank you, Senator Munya. Your motion is passed and it would be engrossed with the bill, budget bill. Next amendment, as we're seeing it, because we're on page 150 right now. So I would, Senator Therese?
I had one for 149, page 149.
Okay, back real quick. I think that's the other simpler one you got, right?
Yeah, it's loaded on the chat. I see it up there. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready? Okay, so this amendment is labeled SB 282 TMT line 3, page 149. It's going to amend section 20 of this chapter. And this section is relative to the authorization for payment of prior year's obligations. So by this bill, we are authorizing the governor to pay prior year's obligations. My amendment would be to add on to that section the following. And that written notice is given to the speaker with the total amount, funding source, and the prior year's obligation to be paid for by department or agency 5 days prior to payment. This is simply it's a transparency, trying to induce transparency method. And I think this used to be required for prior year obligations for many years and then stopped. I'm not sure why, but I hope that this will help the agencies too, to be able to, know very clearly why if their budgets are short and it was used on prior years, we're all going to be able to know that. Not all of us have access to the AS400. So this will just all help. It would help to bring us all along when we're departing from, the appropriations that are contained in this act.
All right, thank you. Anybody would like to discuss this? Please wave your hand or make a comment. Anyone? Nobody? Okay, so let's move to vote. Joe, let's do a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The amendment proffered by Senator Teresa Lahi, Chairman Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rajel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes.
Again.
Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Lahi.
Again.
Senator Teresa Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2.
Again.
Senator Pt.2, aye. Senator Marsh Titano.
Again.
Senator Marsh Titano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitui.
Again.
Senator Taitui, aye. Mr. Chair, the amendment received 15 aye votes.
Thank you, Senator Therese. The amendment passes. We'll get it engrossed and then onto the bill, and then we would move on from there. My colleagues, I'm looking if there's anybody else. We're on page 150 now, folks. My colleagues, 150, and that deals with the authorization of refinance certification of JFK. Madam Vice Speaker, ma'am. But before we begin with you, ma'am, Joe, what other amendments do we have there before we go right into JFK, because JFK is
Mr. Chair, this time there is an amendment by Senator Perez for DRT. There is an amendment by Senator Rajel for DOE, and likewise from Vice Speaker for DOE as well.
okay. I believe that Senator, I apologize, Madam Vice, Senator Sabina Perez for revenue and tax is a pretty simple, just a carry over, if I'm correct, Senator Perez?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and then Senator Rizzo is set to make that technical corrections up front that we did for DOE. Okay, and then we can get with the Madam Speaker, Vice Speaker, when it deals directly into the depth of JFK.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, I believe it's actually two amendments. I'm sorry, I believe it's actually two amendments for the GDOE section. They're both technical amendments.
Okay, why don't we take care of Senator, and that'll be it, Joe, of the amendments? Joe?
My
Yes, sir.
apologies, sir. You're coming in broken to me.
Right, okay, we only have Senator Perez and the two of Senator Clint Rizzo, and then also the one little bit lengthy of the Madam Vice, because it deals with the JFK bonding, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so why don't we go and we take care of Senator Perez's of the Department of Revenue and Tax, and we can close that real quick. Ma'am, if you can please state your amendment and tell us the page so we can
Yes.
close that and be done with that one.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just I want to point to everyone's attention on the Zoom chat. My amendment is labeled SB 282 SFP L3 on page 57, and that's the section on Department of Revenue and Taxation. The amendment reads to add a new H to the bill to read continuing appropriation authorization, notwithstanding any other provision of law, the unexpended balance of funds appropriated to the Department of Revenue and Taxation for fiscal year 2020 and prior shall not lapse and shall continue to be available until fully expended. The unexpended balance from prior appropriations shall be utilized for technological upgrades and efforts to adapt automation by the Department of Revenue and Taxation. So I think I spoke on this matter just to refresh everybody's memory. As you know, there's a need to increase or facilitate the processing of tax filings, and that would help to helpfully facilitate the tax refund process. The other thing is that we're dealing with a lot of paper manual. So what one of the issues that DRT faces is the storage of all these documents that are submitted manually, and that too has its own issues. But I think ultimately it's about providing the resources to the employees of DRT so that they can get the job done more effectively and efficiently, and also hopefully save government money and time that we spend, or the money that we spend on, perhaps labor it definitely makes the government more efficient. So I appreciate your support
All right.
in this one.
All right, thank you. Senator Lee, you have a question for the amendment?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Just really quick, was this amendment drafted in consultation with the director? I just want to make sure that we're giving DAF and her team there as much flexibility as they need if there are, in fact, funds to spend. I'm sure, you know, they're there every single day, day in, day out, dealing with these challenges. So I just wanted to see if you had a chance to run this by DRT and if they're in support of this.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I didn't run this particular one by her. I think though that having seen the, you know, how DRT, the facilities there and the type of equipment that they're using, and considering some of the initiatives upcoming in regards to increased automation, I think this is a good way to prioritize any funds if they are available. And considering there is something in the budget bill regards to BPT filing, electronic filing, I think this goes hand in hand with that efforts. And as you know, during the public hearing, the question was asked whether CARES money was being used, and there wasn't a commitment on whether that funding was available. So this kind of helps to you know, provide the resources for the initiatives and mandates that the legislature places on DRT. And considering, you know, we know some of the issues that DRT has, you know, as far as even like use tax, you know, when it comes to use tax, all these other taxes that they have to collect. You know, we know that there's definitely a shortfall, or at least, you know, it would definitely make their job easier in collecting these taxes at a time when, you know, we're looking for funding and for a lot of these much needed, you know, services that the government provides. So I think it's an investment into our agencies that will pay off in multiple fold. So.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I would prefer to give the director a little bit more flexibility, but you know, Senator Sabina is the oversight chair of DRT, so yeah, that's fine.
All right, and to answer your question on that one, Senator Lee, you all probably saw me on the phone. I was talking to the director, and she's in support of it. If she had a little bit more flexibility, no problem, but she likes it because she'd at least be able to. And she doesn't believe she'll have a lot of money left over, but if there's anything, she'll be willing to put it there because she doesn't know where else she's going to be able to get money. Okay, thank you, Senator Lee.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. This is
all right, Senator Therese, please.
Thank you. I support the amendment and hope that, you know, DRT will use it as described by the profferer. But I, of course, have. I expect that they will, because they have shown us that they can, and that they have been very good about improving processes. And despite the overwhelming task that they were facing during the health emergency, I want to commend them especially for processing tax returns. For the calendar year, tax year 2019, they processed over 40,000, and there are currently 30,914 as of July 1st, processed awaiting payment. And the payment due on those is $82 million. So I want to give them a shout out, because it's remarkable that our delay in refunds is not the processing at all. I think they're pretty much doing that very, very well. And so it should help that the administration to get these paid promptly, more or quicker. And that's the goal. And so I think they're doing their side of that equation. So we just need to get the DOA, to work on this $82 million of liability that we still have for tax year 2019, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Otherwise, we're going to do the roll call and we're going to go to vote. Joe Meskin, please. Do you need? I don't think you need a closing, Senator Perez. Thank you. All right, Joe, let's do the roll call and let's help out revenue and tax.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the amendment proffered by Senator Perez, Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rigel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajal, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Ungan.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya-Barnes.
Ungan.
Speaker Munya-Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Lahi.
Again.
Senator Teresa Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Lahi.
Ungan.
Senator Pt.2 Lahi, aye. Senator Marsh-Titano.
Ungan.
Senator Marsh-Titano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Senator Vice Speaker Nelson. Sorry.
Ungan.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitagui.
Ungan.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Mr. Chair, the amendment has 15 aye votes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Senator Pierce. The motion passes. We will now go to Senator Clint Rajal. You have two amendments. They're all focused on DOE for some technical corrections, and then we'll be able to go to the Vice Speaker for hers on, I think it's on the bond issue, which is on the latter part of the budget. All right, Senator Clint?
Sure. One moment, I wasn't prepared. I thought we were going to Nelson, Vice Speaker Nelson first.
Okay.
But I have it right here.
Let me get Joe, if you can upload, please, the Senator Clint's amendments. Because I believe Vice Speaker has somebody that's going to be speaking in reference to the bond and stuff like that. And I want to make sure that we're just focused on that one and we can close that issue of DOE.
Yeah.
Joe, you got those amendments?
Yes, we're loading that in just a sec. Thank you.
All right, there's one.
Okay, I can go ahead and begin speaking on this amendment.
Please, thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so this is just to make the technical corrections needed when we had to increase the debt service payments for the bond, so for JFK. So this is just the same thing that we did with the TAF. It's just to correct the numbers. We have to back out the total number because we increased the debt service. So I'll just go ahead and read it. So it's going to cross out. So it's lines 4 through 25 of page 10, GDOE appropriations. In section 1, it crosses out the figure of $209,142,544 and replaces it with $206,992,554. Similarly, further down, it crosses out the $176,724,182 and replaces it with, it crosses out $178,874,182 and replaces it with $176,724,182. So if you look on the summary appropriation funding source, the general fund goes from 178,874,182 to 176,724,182. And then similarly on the total has to change. So the total goes from 209,142,544 to 206,992,544. And again, that's just to adjust because we increased the debt service. So then we have to back the money out of the total appropriations here, and then it should go back to GDOE after the refinancing is complete. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, does anyone need to discuss this? This was brought up earlier in the budget where even DOE was part of it and the bond people, Gita was part of this. There being none, we can go to vote. Joe, let's do the roll call. Joe, you got the list? There you go.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion or the amendment proffered by Senator Rajal Chairman St. Augustine,
Aye.
Chairman St. Augustine, aye. Vice Chair Rajel,
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton,
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya-Barnes,
Again.
Speaker Munya-Barnes, aye. Senator Lee,
Hungen.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Lahi,
Okay.
Senator Teresa Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Lahi,
Hungen.
Senator Pt.2 Lahi, aye. Senator Marsh Titan,
Again.
Senator Marsh Titan, aye. Senator Castro,
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan,
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya,
Hungen.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson,
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez,
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres,
Nay.
Senator Torres, nay. Senator Taitui,
Hungen.
Senator Taitui, aye. Mr. Chair, the amendment received 14 ayes and 1 nay.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. We'll be engrossed into the budget bill. Senator Clint, your next amendment, please, and then Madam Vice will be next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is also in the GDOE. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's actually in miscellaneous appropriations. So lines 26 through 27 of page 112 and lines 1 through 4, page 113, GDOE capital improvement projects. This was done in consultation with the Office of Finance and Budget. Basically, there was a mistake here. So it would delete the entire section 11 of this miscellaneous appropriations, where I can read the whole section. Section 11, GDOE capital improvement projects. The sum of $1 million is appropriated from the annual capital improvement projects allotment to the Guam Department of Education per the Memorandum of Understanding for the Insular Assessment of Buildings and Classrooms Initiative for the needed capital improvement projects at the public schools. Said funds shall not be used for transferred for any other purposes. My understanding, according to OFB, this is actually there is no money for this appropriation. So perhaps Steve can explain it better.
Steve, please explain the striking out of the GDOE capital improvement projects, please. There's no funds there, and
yes, sir. What it was is it was language that was provided in consultation with the Bureau of Budget, and later on found out that the language was not necessary. The $1 million is being appropriated out of the capital improvement fund. So what it is just it's not really the appropriation doesn't affect any of the revenues within the bill. It provided language to set aside that money for DOE's capital projects, but it was found out later it wasn't needed. So we're just taking it out.
all right.
Thank you. That's
Does
all, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Madam Vice, please, the oversight chair of DOE. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If BBMR felt that this was an amendment that is not needed and they could still move forward with the capital improvement projects, I would like to keep that amendment there.
You like to keep that in, ma'am, but there's no money there, Steve?
That's not what Steve said.
Okay, Steve can.
Steve didn't
Okay,
say there was
I want
no
to make
money
sure.
there.
Okay, Steve.
My understanding is that there is no money in that fund. So
okay,
I'm sorry, Senator Nelson, but there is no money in that fund, and it was an error. So that's why we're just trying to take out the section. So that appropriation really does not exist. The fund source.
I wish there was. So, Madam Vice.
I object to the amendment, Mr. Chair, because Yeah, I object.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
I just have a question.
Okay, please.
Yeah, just a question. So was this $1 million incorporated into the total revenue that we were supposed to appropriate? And by taking this out, does that mean we lowered the total?
My understanding is no. So, but Steve can probably explain the accounting on this side. It's a little complicated, but my understanding is that it doesn't affect any of the bottom line, that somehow, I don't know how that happened, but I guess it has something to do with how they account for the numbers on their end with their millions and millions of spreadsheets.
Yeah, if you look at the language in the proposed section, Senator Perez, it says it's appropriate from the capital improvement project allotments to GDOE as per the memorandum of understanding. So technically, it's not part of any of the revenue base in the bill.
But Steve, can you answer the question? The sum is appropriated from the capital improvement projects allotted, and as we keep reading, per the MOU. Is the MOU still exists, and is there any money going there? I mean, because it's a separate, it's not part of our total revenue. So I think that's the concern of the vice chair, the vice speaker, on reference to DOE. So can you please answer that? I mean, and that's why she's objecting, because if there's money to help DOE, she's going to ask for it.
Mr. Chairman, like I said, this was language that was provided by BBMR. It was their intent, I believe, to have this money appropriated from the capital improvement project to DOD to, I believe, to fund this this particular MOU. But I was privy to some information, but I don't want to review the information because I'm not too sure about it. I was just told. So all they're asking for, because they provided the language, they're just asking us whether or not they can just take it out. It does not exist. The money is, as far as I'm concerned, I was told that it's not in the capital improvement project fund, or if they're whatever fund they're talking about. That's why they want to delete this section.
Right, and reference to Senator Perez, does it impact at all our revenue base or any of our projection?
No, it does not, sir, because it's not part of any of the general fund or special fund appropriations or revenues in this bill.
So it could still stay alive then. So it could still stay alive then, right? Or no?
But then as far as the validity of the fund source, sir, I don't know. So I cannot answer that question.
Okay. Now I understand why you recommend take it out. Madam Vice Speaker, I hope that answers that, even though you're still objecting to it.
Yeah, I share the sentiments with Steve, and thank you for all the hard work you've been doing and dealing with all of our different characters. I know it's not easy. But Mr. Chair, I still object.
All right. Senator Kelly, do you have anything you want to comment that we can wrap this one up, please?
Sure. I withdraw the amendment. If they want to appropriate phantom money, so be it. I withdraw the amendment.
Okay.
I was gonna support the objection. Yep.
Okay, so there's a motion to withdraw. Do we have any objections so we can vote on that and we can just move on this? None. Joe, let's do a roll call. There's a withdrawal and we can end this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to withdraw, Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rigel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rigel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munoz-Barnes.
Again.
Speaker Munoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Lee, nay. Senator Talahi.
Sorry, please tell me what motion it is. Is it the?
It's
to withdraw.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Senator Talahi, aye. Senator Pt.2.
Aye.
Senator Pt.2, aye. Senator Marsh-Titano.
Hungen.
Senator Marsh-Titano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moreland.
Aye.
Senator Moreland, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Aye.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitigui.
Again.
Senator Taitigui, aye. Mr. Chair, the motion to withdraw received 14 aye votes and 1 nay vote.
Thank you. Motion passes. It's withdrawn. We're done with your amendment, Senator Clint. We will now go to the final, if I'm correct, the final amendment of this budget bill. Right, folks? Madam Vice Speaker, we're on page, if I'm correct, page 150, ma'am. And I think you mentioned you have somebody you wanted to bring on, right?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to request Phil Roberto to come online.
All right. Joe, can we get Tom so we can swear Mr. Roberto and we can discuss our
Yes,
amendment
sir,
and
we'll
also
contact Sergeant Arms.
Huh?
Yes, we will contact the Sergeant at Arms.
Please do. And then you got Mr. Roberto on standby right now?
No, sir, we do not have him in the waiting room.
Oh, Madam Vice Speaker, do you have the numbers? You can call him and tell him to get on the link so we can accept him.
Yes, I forwarded it to Joe yesterday.
Okay, Joe.
Sir, we made contact with both Sergeant at Arms and Mr. Roberto, and we're waiting them to log in so we can admit them.
All right, appreciate it. Madam Vice Speaker, are GITA folks involved in this? Because we're talking about the bond. I just want to make sure we're taking care of that. Is it pretty much done? I don't know, Mr. Roberto, is that the DOE guy or is that the bond people? All right, we have Mr. All right, we have Mr. All right, we have Mr. Thank you, Mr. Phil. Mr. Roberto's on. Sergeant Arms here. Sergeant Arms, if you can please swear in Mr. Roberto and we can move along with the amendment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, Mr. Berto, can I have you raise your right hand? Okay, under penalties of perjury, do you affirm that any and all information that you provide, whether it be verbally, electronically, and in writing, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Berto. Mr. Chair, he is under oath.
All right, thank you. Hey, Phil, Madam Vice Speaker, if you can go ahead and start your amendment, and then as we're discussing, I guess we'll turn to Mr. Berto for any questions that you may have, or anybody may have, and we can wrap up this amendment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The amendment is in the Zoom chat. Colleagues have put it in there about an hour or two ago. And it's to add a new section 2 and section 4 to chapter 14 of the bill to read. And so basically what we're doing is we're changing out the Title 5 of Guam Code Annotated Division 5, Chapter 58 Alpha. And if you look, we went ahead and striked out that part of GCA to add in the approval of 2020 certificates. And so it's a long amendment, and I'll give you time to read it. Not unless you want me to read it, Mr. Chair, but I'd rather explain what the amendment does. And so what this amendment is trying to do is that we're all familiar with earlier in the budget hearing, we had to adjust the debt because we were anticipating to go to bond for JFK. However, since that was not realized, we had to change the numbers, and so really it decreased Guam Department of Education's appropriation. And so we're also aware, Mr. Chair, that we've had this legislation in the 32nd Guam legislature for DOE to enter into power purchase agreements. And then we also passed another bill in the 35th legislature to help DOE also be able to utilize power purchase agreements for capital improvement projects. Not to mention, we also included another bill to have a 50% renewable energy standard by 2035. And so really what we're doing is we're going back, trying to relieve the debt service for JFK. And so if we use this, the interest rate for JFK is at 7%. So, and we're realizing that there's a lot of opportunities now because of the economy to go back and to get another bond and at a lower interest rate. So the anticipated interest rate would be at 5% or lower. And like I said, we are currently right now at 7%. And just looking from the rating agencies, from Moody's and Standard & Poor's, the existing debt service reserve fund can be refunded as well, which represents an approximately $5.1 million, which will provide cash savings that can be applied to this fiscal year's budget, FY 2021. And so we've been looking for sources of revenue to address some of the shortages in the agency. And if we allow this amendment to pass, it would allow for the JFK bond to be refinanced, yielding in savings and reducing debts. It will also allow us to yield an additional $5 million for, again, this FY 2021 budget cycle, and provide additional funding, perhaps in other areas within the government, prioritizing public health, education, and public safety would be my hope. And the reason why I'm proffering this amendment today is because we have such a small window for GIDA to act on this refinancing measure, and that window is on October 15th with the current rates that we are anticipating to receive. And so really, my colleagues, I feel that this can be a win-win measure. We've been talking about sustainability for such a long time. We've been talking about promoting solar energy and how we can use that to, and how we can capitalize on saving on our utilities and also moving that into capital improvement projects. And so I feel that if you give us the opportunity here, that this will be able to realize $5 million or $5 million in savings. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. Thank you, Vice Speaker. Anyone on this amendment? Senator Talahi, you're recognized.
I want to commend the Vice Speaker on this amendment. I think it's an excellent amendment that it dedicates where the benefit of the refinancing is going to go, and I think where she's allocated that is a perfect allocation of these funds. And I also noticed that there's a part that removes the excess proceeds being used otherwise, and so I commend her on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Talahi. Anyone else on the amendment? Senator Torres?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, in the provisions that were struck out in the beginning, one of the things that I was interested in is that the original lease back period would not be extended. Are those sorts of considerations also, does this take away from those things which I think are important to preserve? In other words, will the period be extended, or because this one contained it to not drawing it out any further, the debt for a further period?
Right.
I'm reading it wrong.
Right. So we're not looking to extend the period. We're looking at, so if the JFK bond was 10 years ago and the bond was taken out for original 30 years, we would still remain within that 20-year timeline. Does that answer your question?
And that's in the new language as well? I didn't see it. I didn't. It's in the new language, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, that is the intent of it. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have moved this amendment, because I don't want to extend another 10 or any on taxpayers' dollars. Am I correct, Phil? Can you speak on that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Vice Speaker, for introducing this amendment. The intention is only to refinance for the remaining 20 years of the lease period. So the lease period is slated to end in 2040, and that's the extent of which this refinancing goes.
Senator Torres, does that answer your question? Okay, anyone else on the amendment? Speaker Barnes and then Senator Lee. Speaker Barnes, you're recognized.
Just mostly, Mr. Chair, and I just want to say to the author of the amendment, I support her efforts, and I know that we were working on something close to this, as I can remember many years ago when Speaker Wampat and I were working on these efforts. So for me, I believe that this would allow for solar and energy efficiency improvements at JFK. And again, of course, like Phil said, this will be included in the refinancing. It will allow for the maintenance and to ensure the effective output through, the efforts for the course of the bond indenture, which again, Phil said would, and the vice speaker said would be for the remaining 20 years of the lease. I will stress, Mr. Chair, that this does not increase the debt service or the length of the bond. And let me see what else I can say here. The preferred funding scenario will lower the current interest rate from 7% to 5%. Is that right, Mr. Phil?
That is correct, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, and then the current indications, right, from the rating agencies, from Moody's and Standard & Poor's, that the existing debt service reserve fund can be refunded as well, right? So this would represent some good cash savings for fiscal year 2021 at over $5 million, right?
That's correct, Madam Speaker.
And okay. I think that Mr. Chair, that this is really a good amendment. I want to note that through the efforts of my former colleague, I want to say it again, Speaker Wampat, we passed legislation in the 32nd Guam legislature that allowed the DOE to enter into a power purchase agreement for solar power at our public schools, and 6 years have passed and no schools are benefiting from this law. So in this effort, I just want to say that even in the 35th, I think it was Senator Amanda's bill, she can correct me, that we talked about the aggressive renewable portfolios of renewable energy by 2035. And in her efforts, I think it's really important that we talk about sustaining and having our island of Guam continue to be a green Guam. And I think this amendment would include all that. And I just want to say that thank you, Vice Speaker, for taking the leadership to work this and to help JFK and help this solar project. And hopefully we can get it up sooner than later. So, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for letting me do this support for this amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Chairman San Agustin is back.
All right, and who was next, Senator Gunn? I think it was Senator Lee, right? Senator Lee, please.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These questions are for OFB. So I just wanted to see if we could get OFB on record that if this change is made, will GDOE be made whole from the savings?
Yes, Senator Lee. Again, remember when I first brought this up to the body, the original debt service that was reflected in the bill was based on the workings and the information we got from BBMR, that the amount reflected in the bill was the amount they were anticipating to have paid once the debt service was refinanced.
Okay.
Since then, we've been told otherwise, and that we had to reflect the actual amount of the payment based on the debt service abstract. And that amount is the difference that we asked GDOE if they could cover.
Right.
Superintendent did say yes. So the amount that we took, and based on Senator Clint Rigel's adjustments to DOE budget, was the difference between what was originally in the bill and what the actual payment is on the debt schedule.
Okay.
That amounted to 2,150,000 straight. So
Okay.
any savings being derived from any of the bond refinancing, again, that was kind of like part of the conversation with superintendent, that it would go back to GDOE.
Okay, and so even if this change isn't made, would DOE still be made whole based on their estimates of debt service change or debt service, the savings from the debt service?
When you say whole, the only way right now, the only way that they would, right now, when we took the money from them, we took 2.150 away from GDOE's budget, with the assumption that this refinancing will go through and that money would be reimbursed to them.
Correct. But is that dependent upon this amendment, is my question.
This amendment, no, it's not dependent on this amendment, because the reduction was already done in GDOE. Now, in terms of the refinancing itself, it is hoped that the refinancing will go through, because portion of the refinancing, at least no less than the 2.150, would go back to DOE, and yes, it would make them whole.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Guerrero. And then, Mr. Chair, if I could, Mr. Roberto Hafaday, I just wanted to ask what Mr. Roberto's involvement is in this process. I'm unclear. Sorry, can you hear me?
He needs to unmute.
CAPFA, sorry about that. CAPFA is the lessor, which leases JFK to the government of Guam and DOE. Locally, I represent CAPFA, and that's my involvement with CAPFA. And so, what CAPFA is proposing is a direct benefit to DOE. We're not pursuing a power purchase agreement. What the amendment does is allows for the solar improvements and energy efficiency improvements, and 100% of whatever is saved through solar and the built-in efficiencies is a direct benefit to DOE. We are in no way getting involved in a power purchase agreement. So it's an improvement to the facility.
Thank you so much for the clarification, Mr. Roberto, and for being here today. Tsudos Masin, thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this motion? I see none. Oh, Senator Therese, you didn't speak?
No, I spoke already on the motion, but if I could just ask if Section 2 versus the list of preferred, the solar and those other items that are listed above Section 2 and Section 1, are those consistent with each other? Have you discussed this with Gita?
The amendment, as the Vice Speaker proffered, ma'am, was put together with the assistance of Oric and Harrington, the Government of Guam Bond Council. And so there were two main sections that Bond Council added as corrections or inclusions. One was the local sale of bonds, which is item number Section 4 of the amendment, local sale of bonds. And then in section under the approval of 2020 certificates, item number 5, adding the language for the financing of capital improvements, but not limited to solar installations, et cetera, et cetera. And then there was just some minor corrections that Bond Council made to this amendment. But those are the two key additions from the existing language that is in the existing bill.
All right. And they did that on behalf of Gita or with you?
Well, we've been working with Citi. Citi was one of the original bond underwriters when JFK was constructed in 2010. They helped CAPFA with the financing. And so CAPFA had engaged them with regards to this refinancing. And so in conjunction, because in conjunction with Government Agawam and Gita, this amendment was made and corrected by the bond council. Again, as prior speakers had indicated, there's this time sensitivity because of the payment for the bonds is October 15. We need to secure the refinancing in order to get the preferred rate and get the savings that we're looking for. So that has to happen ahead of the bond payment on October 15th. So there's already been some meetings to set a schedule in order to get this thing in motion on a very fast track basis.
Okay. All right. Well, I've never
all right.
Seen a bond approved by the legislature without Gita. That's why I'm asking, but thank you.
All right. Senator Tello, well, stand by. Senator Clinton, who hasn't spoken yet? So I make sure nobody's going to speak more than twice now. We need to wrap this up. Senator Clinton? Okay, Senator Tello, go ahead. And then everybody else, if you've spoken already, please don't raise your hand because I'm not going to recognize you anymore. I'm going to move on. Thank you.
I'll try to be as quick as I can.
All
Hi,
right.
Phil. You know, it's good to see you. You know, I don't really understand what CAFA. Can you kind of give me it's an acronym for something?
Yes, ma'am. CAFA stands for Capital Finance Authority. It's a municipal government and government entity out of Moorhaven, Florida. And so they're the finance entity behind JFK.
Okay. Thank you. I just know you from the venue, you know, so I didn't know you had another life on, like, other than the venue. It's hard enough to run a club. So, okay, thank you. I just wanted to get the clarification and stuff. So, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right. Has anybody else have not spoken? No. Senator Sabine, Senator Clinton, who else has not spoken? Please, if you can remember who.
Yeah. The only people who spoke, that's who I remember. So I remember, you know, Senator, Senator Terlahi, Senator Lee, Senator Torres. Those are the people who spoke
All right.
While I was hearing.
Okay, thank you. Senator Paris, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so, yeah, I guess I'm still trying to wrap my brain around all of the details. Oops, is that right? Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all the details. Would the proffer amendment be opposed to perhaps making this, setting this aside for a session, like right after we're done with the budget? Because I think, yeah, I would feel more comfortable to kind of vet it a little bit more. I do understand that it does affect the budget, but I just was wondering if we could just get right into a session, emergency session, and we could discuss this and just kind of get more of the details, have more time to look at this. Because there's a lot of things that I'm not familiar with. That's just what I'm thinking right now.
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to see this move because we have a limited amount of time. And so just because the deadline is October 15th, that doesn't mean that they have a whole month to get it done. They still have, there's a lot of hurdles and approvals that they have to go through. So if you don't want the amendment on the bill, you're more than welcome to vote no.
All right. Thank you, Senator Paris. Did that?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, I agree with the concept and behind it. I just would like more time to look at the details. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to speak on this? If not, we're going to go in and Senator Nelson, if you can please close. I don't see any hands, and let's vote on this. Because I'm in support of solar. I've been promoting this for the past 4 years or even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'd just like to add if legal can make any technical corrections as needed. And colleagues, I just hope that you could support this amendment to realize $5 million in savings. And this will be actually a win for the government and a win for JFK and Guam Department of Education. Thank you.
Joe, let's do the roll call. Let's vote. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the amendment, Vice Speaker Nelson. Chairman St. Augustine.
Aye.
Chairman St. Augustine, aye. Vice Chair Rigel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rigel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munoz Barnes.
Again.
Speaker Munoz Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Therese Talahi.
Again.
Senator Therese Talahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Talahi.
Again.
Senator Pt.2 Talahi, aye. Senator Marsh Taitano.
Again.
Senator Marsh Taitano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munoz.
Again.
Senator Munoz, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Pass.
Senator Perez, pass. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitagui.
Again.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Senator Perez.
Aye for the reasons I stated.
Senator Perez, nay. Mr. Chair, the amendment received 14 ayes and 1 nay vote.
Thank you. And the motion passes. Thank you, Madam Vice Speaker. It'll be engrossed into the budget bill. This completes your amendment. I don't think you have anything else, right? Thank you, Phil, for your time today. Be safe.
Thank you, Senator.
Take care.
Thank
All
you.
right. And then now we have only one more amendment, please, and we need to wrap this up. Okay, Senator Therese Talahi, you have an amendment. I'm trying to see.
Yes.
I'm trying to see it right now. I think it has been. It's been uploaded. I think that's DCN. Joe, can we make sure we get the amendment uploaded, please?
Yes, uploading at this time, sir.
Well, as a matter of fact, before we get to that 154, I just want to call the page number because your amendment's on page 154. We're now on page 151. There's no amendment. We're on page 152. No amendment. 153. No amendment. We're on page 154, which Senator Therese has an amendment. And then we pretty much, we don't have any other amendment. We pretty much will end the budget discussion, my colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So page 154 through 158 is a new chapter 15 being added to this bill, and it's to authorize refunding of the hotel occupancy bond. And the purpose of this refinancing is supposed to, reduce the payments that need to be made, especially during fiscal year 21, and allow GVB to benefit from that reduction in payments that are due. But we have been told that they're not looking to go out for this refinancing until February. So my amendment is to delete this from the bill today and to do it by a separate bill so that we can vet it fully. And I remain committed that GVBC reduction, they need that the reduction, if there is a reduction in bond payments, that it's going to go to GVB. I remain committed to that. That's in section 3 of the bill. But I think that we should get additional information from Gita. Gita is the one I was told who is advising GVB in this regard. but we've not heard from them directly. So that would be my amendment for today, so that we can proceed with the budget and take care of this as soon as possible following this budget.
All right, Senator Therese, does anybody want to speak? The only thing I'm going to ask is, number one, have you contacted Gita so they can respond? And then Steve, maybe you can comment how we got this on in the budget, because when the hot bonds got involved, it isn't this what? No, the hot obviously tax refund, but this is the hot bond, correct?
Yes.
Steve? Okay, because we made the adjustment earlier in the chapter to allow the movement of funding to GVB to take it out of their budget. Now you're saying you want to pause what we're doing here now after we reduce? I'm trying to understand that.
No, we haven't affected GVB at all. Bond-wise, we have in your current budget bill, the payment for the hot bond is still going to be paid out of the hotel occupancy tax. But what this provision would have done is the most important part is said that if the bond is refinanced, that the sum that corresponds to the dollar amount of debt service savings would go to GVB. But there will not be any savings until February. That's the reality that I've been told. And according to OFB, they've contacted Gita and they're just not available. So I just think we've got some time before February for sure, and we can get it done within this fiscal year if they've got that kind of information also, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I just don't want to, I just want to put any jeopardy. Steve, can you comment please in reference to this section so we can wrap this one up, please? How this got in here and how it's supposed to work, even in the absence of Gita, and you can pretty much be able to answer that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in our conversation with GVB and the whole thing about this bond refinancing with both GVB and GDOE, the administration approach, I mean, in our conversation with the administration, it was said that the bond debt service that was supposed to be due in 2021 and the amounts that were reflected or that are reflected in the bill was predicated on the fact that these two bonds in particular were going to be refinanced or refunded sometimes in the next several months. And to that is that the adjustments being made to both the GDOE debt service and to the hot bond for GVB is being done on the assumption that these two bonds are going to be refinanced and that any savings from the refinancing of these bonds will go back to these agencies. Now, Senator Talai is correct. It's not affecting basically the debt service that's due to the hot bond because we've already made those amendments, and that the payment, the debt service for the hot bonds for 2021 with these amendments will be. I'm just concerned that, you know, it was part of our conversation with these two agencies that, you know, the financing would be done and they would be reimbursed for these amounts that we identified. And that's my only concern. But if Senator Talai is saying that, you know, these negotiations, these meetings can take place and assure that these monies will be replenished or reimbursed to these agencies, then, you know, I'm gonna rest assured that, you know, that's gonna happen. But as far as, you know, our conversation with Gita, I just like to, you know, tell Senator Therese that our conversation with Gita really didn't have anything to do with basically with the refinancing. It was only to secure and to validate that the debt service amount was in truth correct, and what we are reflecting in the bill now after the adjustments is the actual payments for these debt services.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, that's my understanding too. And as I said, they're hoping to come out with this no later than February. But I think if we act on it separately, we'll be able to allow all the senators to fully vet the refinancing, just as we did for the refinancing of GPA and the refinancing of the airport in the past term. Thank you. So I don't think it's going to impede anything today because GVB was not going to see any benefit until February. So we're going to still work for that. That's the goal.
All right. Anyone else would like to speak to this? Let me see. I'm looking at hands. Madam Speaker.
Brief, Mr. Chair. Just in the efforts of trying to give GVB all the latitude to see how we can work, and this is already in the budget, and making sure that we give them that opportunity. I'm just going to respectfully object to this amendment and ask that it still be included in this budget bill.
Okay, anybody else? Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. Just two quick questions. I wanted to ask the proffer of this amendment if GVB was consulted and if they're okay with this amendment, with us taking this out of the budget bill.
I think, no, I haven't asked them permission to take this out of the budget bill because this is our prerogative as senators. But I think they know that if they want this money by February, so that's all that they care about, is that this is going to get done before the interest rates are appropriate for them to actually get the refinancing. So they already anticipate in their budget that they are not going to see this revenue until February. I'm not even sure if the GVB board has authorized any, well, I don't think they need to. We need to, and right. Gita needs to, and we've not even had Gita here to talk about this.
Thank you, Senator. And the reason why I asked is I'm not asking for the permission. I just wanted to kind of get feedback from them on that as a direct stakeholder input. But I do have another question for you, Mr. Chair, if I can ask a question. How can we be certain that we can sell a bond on our tourism attraction fund if all that we can see is that our collections next year are super uncertain?
You're asking the question, how can we secure?
Yeah, how can we be certain that we can sell a bond on our tourism attraction fund if, the current situation is that our collections for next year are a huge question mark?
I won't know how to answer that. Steve, maybe you can help me out on this one?
I'm asking the proffer of this amendment. Okay. If we're going to remove it.
Senator Therese?
That's exactly why, because we need Gita to come in and talk to you about those types of things so that they can assure the people of Guam whether this is doable or not. And the last time Melanie Mendiola spoke about this committee of the whole, we were down at the legislature, she said, as for the hot bond, the earliest we can do that is in February. And so I think it's appropriate that we take our time and we allow Gita to flush that out, all those types of questions, because I have the same similar questions about the TAF. But if they can do it, great. But I just think there's no harm to any party by allowing more time to have it vetted.
So how is this different from the amendment that just passed? How are we okay with JFK, but we're not okay with the hot bond?
Because the JFK deal is done in October 15. That's the huge difference. And if you read the language, they're totally different. But JFK's is due October 15. It's final already. This one hasn't hardly even begun. Yeah, they're, I don't think, they've got a lot of time still. They said the earliest would be February.
Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you so much for the time. I also have concerns about this amendment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else who like to speak? I'm looking across the board. Anybody would like to speak? There being none. Senator Therese, if you could please close this, and this should end all our amendments, I think, for the day.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think this removal of this provision would have any negative impact on your balancing of a budget. It really was an authorization without even Gita appearing before the legislature to discuss the details of the refinancing. And I just think that is very appropriate that we call them in, we call GVB. GVB is the recipient, if we allow it, they would be the recipient of the reduced refinancing. And so that's the part that I think we all agree on because of their need. But it's appropriate that Gita just flesh out the bond a little bit more and that they be able to bring it before the legislature, which has the exclusive authority to approve bonds. I just think that would be the appropriate way to go here. And the deadline is not even to begin. And they said the earliest is February. So that's what I'm saying. We've got time even before the end of this fiscal year, and we've got time before the end of our term to confirm that. And if we fail, they've got time in the next term. So I think GVB is safe. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Joe, let's call for the vote, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the amendment proffered by Senator Therese Delahaye. Chairman San Agustin.
Pass.
Chairman San Agustin, pass. Vice Chair Rajel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Okay.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya-Barnes.
Aye.
Speaker Munya-Barnes, nay. Senator Lee.
Pass.
Senator Lee, pass. Senator Therese Delahaye.
Okay.
Senator Therese Delahaye, aye. Senator Pt.2.
Nay.
Senator Pt.2, nay. Senator Marsh-Titano.
Pass.
Senator Marsh-Titano, pass. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes, it's not until February.
Nay.
Folks, there's some of your mics are on, please. Okay.
Senator Torres, nay. Senator Taitagui.
Good.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Chairman San Agustin.
Pass. One more time.
Senator San Agustin, Chairman San Agustin, pass. Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Lee, nay. Senator Marsh-Titano.
Aye.
Senator Marsh-Titano, nay. Chairman San Agustin.
With reservation, aye.
Chairman San Agustin, nay.
Mr. Mesnet? Joe?
Yes, Senator.
Hi, did you come back for my vote?
I'm sorry. Senator Vice Chair Shelton.
Aye.
Vice Chair Shelton, Nay, I apologize. Mr. Chair, the amendment by Senator Terlahi received 8 ayes and 7 nays.
All right. Thank you, my colleagues. 8 ayes, you said, right? So the motion passes. And
Yes, Mr. Chair.
we will now move to, oh, it done struck out a lot of pages here. So we are now on, Joe, what page would we be on after we struck out? Just looking at it, I think we struck out the whole page there. So
correct. Mr. Chair, we would be on our final page, chapter 16, page 159.
All right, for severability. All right, I know there's no amendments. My vice, please. Am I correct? There's no other amendments, right, Joe? Everything is clean. Everything's washed out.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. We've exhausted all the amendments.
All right, Sir, Senator Clinton, my vice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've completed discussions on Bill 282-35. I move to adopt the amendments passed in this committee on Bill 282-35, and I move that the committee report the bill out as substituted and that it be presented to the committee of the whole for its recommendation.
There's a motion. Do I have any objection to that motion? We will move to vote just to solidify that we're all in agreement. Joe, please take the roll call.
On the motion made by Vice Chair Rigel, Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye.
Let's make the damn change.
Vice Chair Rigel.
If anybody questions it, what the hell? The dollar?
Steve, you're on, Steve. Please turn off your mic. Thank you. Continue, Joe. Wait. Senator Lee, you raised your hand as we're in vote, ma'am?
Yes, I apologize. If we could just repeat the motion. Was it as substituted and further amended?
His motion was as substituted, but I think we need to add as amended because we're going to have to amend this. We did all the amendments.
It should be as substituted and further amended. I apologize.
Yes, thank you for recognizing that. Senator Clint, if we just make that correction, unless we need a
withdraw
the vote.
Yes, I'd like to withdraw that motion, and I'll make a new motion.
All right. Do we have any objection to that withdrawal of that motion? Guess we do another vote for that withdrawal. Please, Joe, if you could just roll call.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
On the withdrawal of that motion, Chairman San Agustin.
Thank you. Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rigel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rigel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Okay.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munoz-Barnes.
Aye. Hungan.
Speaker Munoz-Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Hungan.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Talahi.
Hungan.
Senator Teresa Talahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Talahi.
Hungan.
Senator Pt.2 Talahi, aye. Senator March Taitano.
Hungan.
Senator March Taitano, aye. Senator Castro.
Hungan.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moylan.
Aye.
Senator Moylan, aye. Senator Munya.
Hungan.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Madam Vice.
You ready for the new motion?
No, waiting for the Vice Speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam Vice. Madam Vice Speaker? She might be having some technical difficulties here. Madam Vice Speaker Nelson? We're not hearing anything on our side, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, ma'am.
Hungen.
Okay. Joe?
Vice Speaker, thank you. Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitagui.
Again.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Mr. Chair, the motion to withdraw has 15 ayes.
Thank you, my colleagues. Senator Clint, now the new motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt the amendments passed in committee on Bill 282-35 and that the committee report the bill out as amended and that it be presented to the committee of the whole for its recommendation.
All right, I think that completed that one. No need for discussion. We go to vote, please. Joe, let's go to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion, Vice Chair Rajel. Senator Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rajel.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rajel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes.
Again.
Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Teresa Lahi.
Again.
Senator Teresa Lahi, aye. Senator Pt.2 Lahi.
Again.
Senator Pt.2 Lahi, aye. Senator Marsh Taitano.
Again.
Senator Marsh Taitano, aye. Senator Castro.
Again.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moreland.
Aye.
Senator Moreland, aye. Senator Munya.
Again, por favor.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Again.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitagui.
Good.
Senator Taitagui, aye. Mr. Chair, the motion received 15 aye votes.
Right, thank you, my colleagues. Senator Clinton, you have another motion?
Mr. Chair, I motion to adjourn.
All right, my colleagues, do I see any objection? We're going to adjourn the committee on general government operation, appropriation, and housing. I will be sending you out the notice that we will be meeting tomorrow evening. So I just need to get with Committee on Rules and the legal to confirm the time, but you can expect it to be at least maybe 10 p.m. So I may be making whatever motions I need to make to adjust or to waive the standing rules to meet at 10. All right, so I'll be communicating that to the Committee on Rules and to everyone, please. All right, thank you. And motion is to adjourn. Do we have any objection? Do we need to vote? We'll move to vote just to make sure that nobody debates this. Joe, let's make the motion to vote, please, and let's move on.
Vote to adjourn.
I
The
think
motion to adjourn.
You can do it sua sponte, sir. You can move it sua sponte.
Joe, go to roll call, Joe. It's a motion. Let's move.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Chair.
don't want
On that
anybody to
motion-
debate with me.
On that motion, Chairman San Agustin.
Aye.
Chairman San Agustin, aye. Vice Chair Rajel.
Hungen, por favor.
Vice Chair Rajel, aye. Vice Chair Shelton.
Again.
Vice Chair Shelton, aye. Speaker Munya Barnes.
Again.
Speaker Munya Barnes, aye. Senator Lee.
Again, por favor.
Senator Lee, aye. Senator Therese Talahi.
Okay.
Senator Therese Talahi, aye. Senator Pito Talahi.
Hunggan, por favor.
Senator Pito Talahi, aye. Senator Mars Taitano.
Hunggan.
Senator Mars Taitano, aye. Senator Castro.
Hunggan.
Senator Castro, aye. Senator Moreland.
Aye.
Senator Moreland, aye. Senator Munya.
Again.
Senator Munya, aye. Vice Speaker Nelson.
Hunggan.
Vice Speaker Nelson, aye. Senator Perez.
Again.
Senator Perez, aye. Senator Torres.
Yes.
Senator Torres, aye. Senator Taitugui.
Hunggan.
Senator Taitugui, aye. Mr. Chair, the motion received 15 aye votes.
Thank you, my colleagues. Motion passes. Please drive safe. You will get the notice very shortly on
Mr.
what
Chair.
time we'll meet, but it'll probably be at 10 p.m. tomorrow. All right? Thank you very much, and take care. And thank you for the participation, and to the people of Guam for being patient with us. All right? Take care. We are now adjourned.